So after the last Fast and Awesome, I did my review test of the 2003 Ford Crown Victoria Poor Man's Supercar. Well, after I lost that race, I sold that cop car because it disrespected me. So, with the cash I got from the cop car, so I got this, the 2002 BMW 330. So if you don't know about BMW motor sizes or how their number system works, the first number of the BMW number system is the series of the car. So this is a 3 series, and the next two numbers are always the motor size. So this is a 330, so this is the 3-liter motor. So if it was a 325, then it'd be the 3 series with the 2.5 liter motor, and so on. I never knew that, but I learned it for you. So we can call this the poor man's luxury sports car. Oh yes. So you can pick up one of these bad boys for about $3,000, depending on the shape. This one's got 254,000 miles on it, and it still runs great, and it still looks great. This is the closest thing you can get to an M3 without being an M3 or paying an M3's price tag. But anyway, this car is amazing. So you got your basics, you got your CD player, you got climate control, you got automatic wipers, you got automatic lights, you got steering wheel sensors. This version has heated seats. Oh yeah. And then you also got this fancy little button right here. This one makes your stereo sound cooler. And what else? I like to call this one shit control. So if you push this once, you'll shut off the traction control, and then if you hold it down for, I think it's like 10 or 15 seconds, your light will flash again, and then it will shut off your stabilizer, so you can get all sideways in this thing. Because this BMW has a limited slip differential. That means you can get all kinds of sideways and happy, and it'll stay pretty well controlled. Now, when I first got this car, I really was a little skeptical about it at first. Now, this car has 254,000 miles on it. So that's enough to scare the average consumer away. But for 254,000 miles, this car rides amazing. Even on my first test drive, when I got in this thing, I'm like, this is the most solid car with this kind of mileage. The struts are still strong, the springs are still strong, it still handles like a dream, and it only has a slight engine leak. So every car has a slight engine leak anyway, so this guy just burns a little bit of oil, but other than that, everything works great, except for the temperature. I put a piece of electrical tape over it because all it reads is -40. I put a new sensor on it, and it still does it. And then over here, we got passenger airbag sensor. It's off. Well, then there's you got that little brake sensor that tells you when your brake pads need replaced. That sensor doesn't work. I replaced those, and now it's doing the same thing. And over here is another light. This is my washer fluid light. Oh yeah. So I've tried to fix that, and that refuses to be fixed too. So my guess is they're all tied to the same ground or something. So if you need to make a trip to your building supply store and get some 2x4s, you can still fit them down because the back seats pull down. And also the other thing that people don't tell you about the limited slip differential on these, BMW's one claim to fame is if you let your hands off the steering wheel and you floor it, it's supposed to go straight. I'd show you that test today, but it's a little wet and I want to test my luck. But the brakes on this thing are nice and solid. So it's got all-wheel disc brakes, and they work pretty amazing, and it stops pretty quickly. Now this car is the automatic 5-speed with the with the manual selection gearbox, and it also does pretty well on shifting. So it doesn't, what I mean is it doesn't have a huge delay whenever you go to shift. You know, some cars you go to use their automatic manual mode, And then whenever you go to use it, you tell the car to shift, and then it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it shifts when you're hanging out at the rev limiter for like 5 seconds. But this responds in like 2 seconds, so it's got a decent delay, and it's fun to play with. It's also good that you can just switch this over to manual mode, downshift it, and then you can play with your 5 gears that you have. And then also, if you shut off shift control, you can go sideways on this turn right here, and really listen to that beautiful sound of that 3-liter BMW engine. Sometimes I just like to let it hang out at 4, just let it just hang out. Then I just like to just put it to it and just listen to that motor. Just merging on the highway, no big deal. And then after you're done, you just slide it over and you're back to automatic mode. And we're already doing 90 miles an hour. I mean, we're doing 65 miles an hour. About a 0 to 60. 60. 70. 80. Oh, out of room. For an extra $500, you can really turn this car into an M3 wannabe. A lot of people think this is an M3, even though if you know your BMWs, you know your M3s, you know they don't make a 4-door M3. But if you want to take your 330 and then make your 330 look like a sweet M3, and then just put an M3 front bumper on it, I got mine off eBay for like $150, and then I sprayed it with my spray gun because it is a really small front bumper, and it was super easy to put on. And then I got some M3 side stick-on glue plates. I got those things for like $7 or $14 on Amazon, and I stuck them on, and then I shot a lube silicone sealing around the outside to make sure they stay on longer. Oh yeah, now everybody thinks this is an M3, and I got an M3 badge on my tailgate for like $5 or something too. I got that super cheap. So now I have a knockoff M3. And I saved myself like, probably like $17,000. But it was all said and done, I got this bad boy for like $2,500. And I think this is the best $2,500 car I've ever had, especially with the miles. It doesn't even phase it. Oh, and the other thing I forgot to mention, my gas gauge doesn't work too well on this either. So I usually have to just set my fuel thing. It always says I'm full, so that's the good thing about the BMW. Its glass is always half full. Now there's something about a BMW that confuses people. It's got the class and style of a nice luxury car, because it is a luxury car. But it's got that mixed bipolar personality, you may call it, of the sports car. A true red sports car. Every time you hammer down on this engine, it just screams, I love this. For other cars scream, don't do that. BMW accepts your naughty nature and allows you just to go crazy. But the great thing about the 330 is its size. Like, I like a small 4-door, because in town, this is easy to park. It's easier to cut people off in traffic if you have to, and you just feel more centered with this car. I just have better perception of my surroundings, and it's just a great car to driver communication this car has. I'll tell you what other kind of detail BMW puts into their cars. This little seat thing below me, if you grab this little tab, you can pull it out. So what's the point of that? It extends the seat. So if you have a really long body, you can actually extend the seat. That's like almost 1.25 inches to make it that much longer. That's how much they care about you. And also the other good thing about this car is it doesn't scream, pull me over. Like, you know, some cars you customize because there's a police officer in front of me. And I was just thinking, if I was in one of my other cars, I might just be nervous just because the way the car looks. if it looks all modded out, the police are just looking for an excuse to pull you over. But in a BMW, it's like hidden performance, where they're like, well, I don't know if he's on business or if he's just a kid looking at a street race. I can't decide. BMW does give you that cover, having the 330. Versus, would be an example, loud ass Honda Civic, or if it's slammed, or if it has all kinds of flair, stickers, spoilers, fancy LED lights. Nope, not this car. It just looks fast without needing all that flair to make up for an ugly body to begin with.